Welcome back to Player Profiler News Prime Time. I'm your host, Jake. You can follow me on X, Twitter, whatever you call it, still at Louis Lewis 5. That's Lewy Lewis and the number 5. It's also right there on the screen for you. But thanks for tuning in to today's show. Remember to check us out all week here at Player Profiler. We got new episodes going on throughout the week. Just be sure to follow, like, subscribe, refer a friend, anything like that. On today's show, I will be covering news happening around the league, as well as giving you my top 12 running backs for the 2025 season. So with that, let's get fantasy. All right, first news out there right now is Nick Chubb drawing interest from two teams, one being the Commanders, the other being the Chicago Bears. The Commanders already have Austin Ekeler and Bijan Robinson, one of the most unsexy picks of all of football, I'd say. Robinson has never finished better than running back 21 in his 3-year career. And, well, Ekeler, he's on the wrong side of his playing career and also suffering from concussions last season. But if Chubb signed there, I think that's it for rookie sensation or the hot pot, of Jahmyr Croskey-Merritt. I think that will die down then if Chubb did sign there. I don't think he's going to sign there personally. I think it's more the Bears. And for the Bears, Chubb could easily take that Jamal Williams role when Ben Johnson had DeAndre Swift in Detroit in 2022. That same year, Williams actually led the league in rushing touchdowns with 17, all while Swift only had 5. And he had 542 yards rushing to go along with it. So if Chicago signs Chubb, I think it's saying Roschon Johnson, get out of the way. You're not going to be fantasy relevant. And I see a lot of it being Swift and Chubb. I understand Swift isn't going to be how he was the last couple of years as a running back 2 in the league for fantasy, especially if Chubb's there. And I think Swift will be used much like the 2022 season, more in the passing game, which is good. But I just personally, just because I have some Swift, shares, I would love Chubb not to sign with them, but it makes sense for the Bears with Chubb. He's just on his wrong side of his age, I'd say, of the running back threshold. So if I had to pick a team, I would say the Bears would make the most sense. But I don't see him signing anywhere until closer to training camp. Next news is Tyreek Hill said he is going to church and therapy to help gain the trust of his teammates after how last season turned out and ended. It's hard to believe, that he's a changed man overnight. He's still getting into domestic disputes and all this other stuff off the field, but really on-field stuff, it almost kind of relates to me as Antonio Brown. I mean, you've seen him, after he said he wants to be gone out of the Dolphins last year, he photoshopped his head onto Antonio Brown's body when he's leaving the field doing the peace sign. I just have a hard time. I don't think he's going to be a Dolphin this year. Personally, I think he's going to get traded at some point, or he's going to, you know, get injured some sort. I don't think if he is a Dolphin, it's not going to be for long. He's I think he's a wide receiver 2 at best. I don't see him going into that wide receiver 1 like he has multiple times throughout his career. Liam Coen addresses media that it's completely inaccurate that the team wants to move on from Travis Etienne. And I quote, "He's done a great job. I don't really understand some of the stuff I've seen out there. That's absolutely inaccurate." I think this is all fire or like false. Like I feel it's more of BS. I think I would give it around training camp / preseason, and they're going to look to move him. I just don't see him being a Jag for this whole season. I think it's just all smoke fire. They also have Tank Bigsby and 2 rookies who I am very high on, both of them, Tootin and LaQuint Allen. I mean, if you know me, I've been very high on LaQuint Allen throughout this whole draft process, but Tootin is the one that looks like that's going to be the next man up, as long as he holds on to that damn ball, because in the last 2 seasons in college, he had 9 fumbles, and his first play in action at practice, he fumbled it. You're not going to go far if you fumble it. Ask Ramondre Stevenson how he did after last season. Travion Henderson's going to take his job this season. Last news, I believe, is Stefon Diggs in attendance for teams' voluntary OTAs. I think he's there since there's a video of him on the boat, all whatever. He has some sort of stash, whatever it was, or I don't even know. You know, we could all just draw conclusions of what it actually was, but nonetheless, the Patriots could cut ties with him. I believe they would save what they gave him, 3 years, $69 million, because I think in the clause it has that if he violates some kind of issues or whatever it is, that they can get out of the contract. I'm not 100% sure, so let me know in the chat if that makes sense. But I don't see them doing it. I already read a report today that they are not planning on releasing Stefon Diggs. And I think they need Diggs to help groom this young wide receiver core and also give Drake May somebody to throw to. I understand that Stefon Diggs won't play until probably week 4 at best. So I'm thinking first 6 weeks on PUP list. Why rush him back? I understand you gave him a buttload of cash, but you also had like $120 million to spend, and you improved the offensive line. I think ultimately having Diggs on your team is for the best. That is all the news and notes from around the league in the last couple days. Before I get into my top 12, let's hear a word from the Podfather about FFPC.
Hey, why do we partner with the FFPC? Because they have the widest variety of fantasy football formats, and it's the easiest place to find all types of fantasy football contests in the world. What if you want to play for high stakes? Well, they have a $6 million prize pool with their Fantasy Players Championship. They also have way too early best ball leagues that start in February and Dynasty leagues. They have the closest thing to a liquid market for orphans that there is in all of Dynasty. And the FFPC has sponsored us for half a decade because we are actually delivering information that can help fantasy gamers, and they're generating so much interest and bringing in so many new users, casual users even. The FFPC creates a unique experience where you can both compete against the best and make money. Use promo code UNDERWORLD to get $25 off your first team. $25 off your first team at the FFPC with promo code UNDERWORLD. Go get it!
Yes, use promo code UNDERWORLD for FFPC. It's a great area to never have a league fold. And I know from experience that, you don't want to do a dynasty and then all of a sudden, boom, the league crashes because 3 people got out with FFPC. They always find new ones to replace who left, and it never dies. So you can keep your team that you've built for years and years and years and keep slaying away and hopefully making money. All right, top 12 running backs. I'm going to start from 12 and work my way down. After doing some of the notes and everything and looking, I've adjusted these multiple times. It's so hard to predict what's going to happen. I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with some of these, obviously, but this is just me. After looking closer to some of these guys, and last year, we had Saquon Barkley show us why he is better on the Eagles than what he was on the Giants. New change of scenery. Same thing with Derrick Henry. He was close to a 2,000-yard rushing season as well. But speaking of Derrick Henry, he is my number 12 on my list. Now, this comes as a bit of surprise, but completely makes sense for me. Can Derrick Henry be slowed down at his age? I don't think it'll happen this year. He has displayed, even at old age, crazy production stat lines. Last year, he finished as RB4. He also almost had 2,000 yards rushing, like I said, for the second time in his career. Unfortunately, he had only 19-21, but he did have 16 touchdowns. One of Henry's game, or in Henry's game, he lacks passing work. He only had 22 targets last year, caught 19 of them for 193 yards and 2 scores. He isn't going to help you much through the air. That's why I kind of put him down to the RB12. I understand he finished as RB4 last year, but I think they take back some of those rushing numbers, how many times he carried the ball. He carried it 325 times last year. I think that number is going to go down. They're going to give him a break. They also want him in the playoffs to do what he does. And we're talking about in season right now that, we're not looking into the future, but the Ravens we are fantasy gamers. They're a real football team. They need to protect their running back. So I see that 325 times being more like 300. So 1 game shy. And if you take that away, he could slide down from where he was last year. Plus, he has work between him and Lamar Jackson in the goal line situation. So some of those touchdowns could be more quarterback sneaks, quarterback option, RPOs, whatever the case may be. I still think he gets double-digit touchdowns this year, and I would strongly bet on that. This is not betting advice as well, but I feel he's still going to have a great year and still finish as an RB1 overall this season, much like he has his whole career. At number 11, this one is another probably surprise as well, but this Browns organization is failing to, whoever comes in as quarterback, this offense is got to run through somebody. And why not your top 2nd round pick, skilled position, Quinshon Judkins? He is going to be so valuable for this team. Nick Chubb is no longer there. He has all the power, speed, burst, everything that you're looking for in a running back. In the national championship last year for Ohio State. He had 121 yards total, 3 touchdowns, and averaged 9.1 yards per carry. He is 21 years old, 220 pounds, and runs a 4.48 in the 40. Chubb, in the last 2 seasons, hasn't really played much, but 4 seasons prior to that, he was running back 6, 13, 11, and 8. Ford, who played most of the 2023 season since Chubb was out because he only played 2 games with a knee injury, finished as RB16. Now, put Quinshon Judkins in this Browns offense, and, he is going to be their identity. They drafted him very high before, I think he was the third running back off the board. There's a reason why they have, I understand he's not going to be Nick Chubb's, comparison, but he's going to fill that void of Nick Chubb, in my opinion. And how is he not going to be a number 11 running back on this Browns team that they have literally no answer for wide receiver or for quarterback? I mean, I don't know how it'd be. So you're going to run it, and why not run it with Judkins? So he is my number 11. Number 10, I have RJ Harvey. Yes, another rookie. We got screwed last year. There's no rookie that finished inside the top 12, top 24, whatever. And it's been quite some years that there's always been a rookie in the top 24. Last year was none. And this year I'm predicting there's going to be 3 in the top 12. Kind of a hot take for myself. We keep hearing Sean Payton, though, this whole offseason wanting a joker in his offense. Is it RJ Harvey? I don't know. But also we are able to see that Sean Payton wants to run the ball. And that's why he drafted RJ Harvey from UCF at pick 60. High draft capital, second round, day 2 pick. And they could have traded back and maybe got him. Or I think they had a 14 picks later. They could have probably selected him at 74th overall. But instead, Sean Payton drafted him right then and there at number 60. He got his guy he wanted, his new shiny toy in this Broncos backfield. I think he's going to outplay McLaughlin and Audric Esme. Harvey had back-to-back seasons over 1,400 yards rushing for UCF and more than 16 touchdowns in the last 2 seasons, each season. Even like 3 years ago, he had close to 800 yards rushing as well. He's going to take the lead on this Broncos backfield and should easily finish as a top 12. And we've seen it multiple times in Sean Payton's offense that they target the running back a crap ton in the passing game. Javonte Williams last year, fifth most targeted running back was 70. Those can easily be spread out, but I think a lot of them will be Harvey due to the fact he should be their lead back. And I expect big things happening for Harvey this season for the Broncos. He is a top 10 running back this year. At number 9, I have Kyren Williams. Last 2 seasons, he finished as running back 7 and running back 7 back-to-back seasons. I don't feel there will be any regression as much. I think it's going to slip a little bit. He has had 12 and 14 rushing touchdowns and targeted 48 times and 40 times in the last 2 seasons. They also drafted, though, last year Blake Corum and this year Jaquez Hunter from Auburn. I believe Hunter can take some of the pass catching away from Williams, which he had 68 catches for 558 yards in his college career and 4 touchdowns at Auburn. and they select him in the 4th round. So it's kind of higher draft capital. I mean, that's where they selected Kyron Williams a few years ago, and Williams is in a contract year, but I feel that the Rams have been burnt in the past of giving a running back big money contract. And I feel like they don't want to be in that situation again because Todd Gurley, yes, he was amazing. His knees failed him. If you give big money contract to Kyron Williams, he might start getting hurt. You never know. I mean, I feel like anytime you pay a guy big money contract from, any position, corner, wide receivers, some of them, you just see them diminish and not become the player that they were on the trajectory to be. So I have him sliding a little bit from the last few seasons, but nonetheless, it's still a top 10 finish for Kyron Williams in 2025. At number 9 or 8, let's go with somebody that wears the number in the NFL, Josh Jacobs for the Green Bay Packers. He finished last season as RB6. He rushed 301 times for 1,300 yards and 15 touchdowns. He also recorded his first and only receiving touchdown of his career. I believe the O-line got a whole lot better this offseason, and that's going to bump up his numbers this year, but he doesn't get that much attraction for the receiving game to ultimately put him very high on my list. I expect him to help out more in the passing game, but ultimately it's going to come on the ground, and he's going to get double-digit rushing touchdowns as well. I just think he has more room for improvement, but I think also some of those touchdowns are going to regress from the what you have 15. I said 15. I think it's going to be more like 12 this year. They also have Savion Williams that they drafted that is like a Cortland Sutton or Cordell Patterson. Sorry, not Cortland. Cordell Patterson, kind of like the Cordell Patterson-esque. You could do end arounds, all this. You could run from the running back. Also, we should be seeing Marshawn Lloyd coming back. As long as he's healthy, we got to see what he can do. 2023 third-round rookie, I do believe. So he's going to be in the mix as well. So I feel like some of those touchdowns are going to regress a little bit, but ultimately still a top 10 running back. Number 7, Jonathan Taylor. It's been 4 years since Taylor was number 1 overall at the running back position. Since then, he played 11 games in 2022 and finished 33rd. 10 games in 2023, finished 33rd. Last season, he missed 3 games as well due to injury. He finished as RB12. Most of that came during fantasy playoffs in the last 3 weeks of the season, which he finished as RB1, and RB5 on the week. I think I seen that was the 5th best all time for rushing yards in a 3-week span. His health is a major concern for me, and they drafted DJ Giddens, who, if you do have dynasty leagues, go out and get DJ Giddens just for a handcuff. Jonathan Taylor has, showed us that injuries are part of his game. And also, I do believe he's on a contract year. So potentially having DJ Giddens, you never know what's going to happen, especially in dynasty. I think the coaching staff for the Colts after this year, I don't think they're going to be there, but nonetheless, this year they're there. They're playing for their jobs. They have to put it on the line. So how do you win? You don't let Anthony Richardson throw the damn ball. You give it to your best players, which your number 1 best player is Jonathan Taylor. Hand the ball off. You've seen that the last 3 weeks of the season. how well he produced, and he just kept going and going and going. So that's what you do. You give him the ball. Also, I think they're going to train Richardson and advise him more to check down to Jonathan Taylor, which should boost his numbers overall. So making him able to beat last year's running back finish as number 12 and finish number 7. Before I get in number 6, let's hear another word from the Podfather about Fast Draft.
It is a damn shame we only get to do a handful of rookie drafts every season. After doing all this rookie analysis, you want more bites at the apple. And that's why we have the Fast Draft Origins tournament. You draft 6 rookies, the top 4 into your lineup. It's best ball style, and it's just $5 to win a $5,000 first prize. So if you're passionate about Taj Brooks or RJ Harvey, get on Fast Draft and use your favorite creator's code to get a $50 deposit match. A $50 deposit match to go make thousands of dollars drafting the rookies that you know and love.
Yes, use promo code Lewis and you'll get a dollar for dollar match up to $50 on your first deposit. You'll find me and a whole bunch of us here from Player Profiler. So you could be competing with us in the same draft. Check it out. And also, again, use my promo code Lewis, Lewis, on Fast Draft app. Number 6 is my son's favorite running back in football, Devon Etienne. In PPR league formats, he's going to crush again. He recorded the second highest in league with 87. Yes, 87 targets last year. He also led the league in these categories as a running back. Most catches, he caught 78, which is 10 more than the second place guy. Most receiving yards, 592 yards, and 6 for rushing or receiving touchdowns. I don't see much changing in this offense. I see Tua still wanting to get rid of the ball quickly out of his hands, especially because of his mental, all the concussions he has had. So I think that he's going to get the ball out of his hands quickly. What does that mean? More dinks and dunks to the running back position. Devon Etienne, I believe, also can easily improve on his 907 yards rushing last year. 2 years ago, we seen him hit home run runs like 79 yards, 68 yards, 67 yards. He had multiple, quick bursts right out of the gate. And unfortunately, last season, he didn't have much of that, except for the last couple of weeks. He did have over 50 plus runs a couple times, but he also ran for over 121 yards in both of them, I do believe. But overall, I think he's going to crush it. I would like to see him playing more than 61% of offensive snaps. And there's reports out there, Dolphins OC Frank Smith saying Devon Etienne to take a bigger role. And I am excited, and I just want to draft Etienne everywhere, and I have a lot of exposure in dynasty leagues. Maybe it's because my son's favorite player as a running back, but ultimately he should smash this season. All right, now for the top 5. I know a lot are going to disagree with this one, but I have Saquon Barkley. I'm not saying this, but he is on the cover of Madden. The Madden curse. Anyways, I don't really want to say it, but anyways, I already did. And I don't wish it upon anyone, but injuries are part of our game. Barkley hasn't been injured much of the last 3 seasons. He has finished running back 5, 12, 2, and PPR formats. Also, by the way, all these are based on PPR league formats. That's how I'm ranking it. But now I know he has an amazing offensive line, and I see some regression for him. I don't see another 2,000 yards rushing for him again this year. I think Eagles are playing the long game, meaning they're not going to spoon feed Barkley and risk an injury for him. Also, the push or the tush push still is not banned. So that just means double digit rushing touchdowns for Jalen Hurts. And also, I think they're going to give Will Shipley and AJ Dillon more snaps and reduce the workload for Barkley just because, like I said, they're playing for a Super Bowl again. And in the playoffs, Barkley busted out some of the most electric runs I've ever seen, but ultimately leading to a Super Bowl win. I think they want to give him still fresh legs in the playoffs. So also Dillon, I could see if he does make the team taking some of the goal line carries. And like I said, the tush push is not going anywhere. Overall, I think Barkley does enough to get inside the top 5. I don't see him getting to the point where he's getting drafted top. I think he's getting drafted top 5 in best ball or redraft leagues right now. I mean, hell, go ahead and draft him so I could get other players. And I think there's going to be other players that do better than him at the running back position. At number 4 is my third rookie, Ashton Jeanty. Pete Carroll loves running the ball, and he does it effectively. You know, he had Marshawn Lynch and everything. Plus, his new OC, Chip Kelly, runs the crap out of the ball too. When Chip Kelly was the Eagles coach in 2013, they ranked first in rushing yards per game. 2024, they ranked 9th, but there's a lot of offensive line injuries, and 14th in 2015. In 2016 with the 49ers, he went back to being 4th for rushing. So I think they're going to run the crap out of the ball, and there is no competition for Jeanty behind him. What, you got Mostert? Get the hell out of here. You ain't going to be worrying about anything with Mostert. Hell, he probably won't even be on the team. He didn't do anything last year except for fumble the ball and get injured. Plus, we have seen in the past running backs that are drafted 6th or higher in an NFL draft have high usage and finish as an RB1. And I don't see anything changing that. He should be first round in redraft leagues, and he should be a top 4, 5 running back this coming season. Number 3, high risk, high reward player, Christian McCaffrey. Yes, he hurt everyone last year if you drafted him in redrafts or in any fantasy format. But I think it helps his body because he recovered a whole year. He, had a couple games, which he was doing well in most of them, but helps recover. He also rushed for 1,100 and 1,400 yards the seasons prior to his injury. And he was targeted 108 times and 83 times as well in 2023. Purdy just got his new contract, and he's going to be using Christian McCaffrey in the passing game. When asked upon, McCaffrey has always delivered in the few years that he's been with the 49ers. Also, nothing's changed to this passing game. It's actually got worse with Debo gone. They're younger. Does Purdy trust those guys? I think he's going to do more dinks and dunks and throw more balls to Christian McCaffrey. I think he's going to finish again as a top 3 running back in fantasy football for 2025. At number 2, Jahmyr Gibbs. Maybe I should have switched after the news. I heard that Frank Ragnew, their all-pro center, is retiring. But anyways, he finished last season as RB1 in PPR leagues, and I think he will pick up right where he left off last season. I think they will give the ball more to Gibbs as well than they did before. David Montgomery got injured. last season, but Gibbs in those 3 games that he was hurt finished as RB 7-3 or 7-2-1 on the week, and then was number 2 the week that Mont got injured. So I think he's primed for another big year. The one big question remains is, does he take a hit with Ben Johnson now gone? I don't think so. I mean, I believe in their new offense coordinator, John Morton. Once was the Lions, but went to the Broncos and served in 2024 as the passing game coordinator, which I already said it earlier, gave running back Javonte Williams the 5th most targets in football last season at the running back position with 70. Just imagine what Jahmyr Gibbs would do with 70 targets. Last year he had 63 and turned 52 catches, 517 yards, and 4 touchdowns. If you get another 7 targets, that's another 7 catches, roughly. I think he's just going to be a stud next season. I think he's destined to be easily a top 5 running back. And I think he's going to finish as RB2 this coming year. Finally, number 1, Bijan Robinson. Last season finished as RB3, but this season he will finish as RB1. He is another year into the new offensive coordinator's playbooks of Zach Robinson, which he's going to get the most out of Bijan this year. He continues to both run the ball and catch the ball. He's just a monster. He had over 1,400 yards rushing, 14 touchdowns, 72 targets, caught 61 of them for 431 yards, but only 1 touchdown. He will get more this season, I'm sure. And with Kirk Cousins no longer set to be the quarterback for the Falcons, we will see Michael Penix Jr., which we've seen a little bit of what the sample size could be with Bijan for Bijan when Michael Penix was a starter. In those 3 games, he put up RB 8, 3, and 2 numbers of the week. If we look at it and we do it through 17 games season, his final stat line would be 2,006 yards, 34 touchdowns, 68 targets, only 40 receptions for only 113 yards. Are these realistic numbers? No, it is not. He's not LT, LaDainian Tomlinson, so he's not going to get 34 touchdowns. But 2,000 yards, I mean, I could definitely see it in this offense, him getting 2,000 yards. And 34 touchdowns, like I said, is unrealistic. Why not cut it in half, average almost 1 rushing touchdown game, so 17. I think 113 yards is very low for receiving wise. I think they're going to give him, and he's going to have like 3 or 4 touchdowns through the air. My prediction for him is to have 1,800 yards rushing, 17 touchdowns this season, 50 catches for over 350 yards and 3 touchdowns. Good enough to be the RB1 on the season. Let me know what you guys think, chat. Did I screw up? Did I miss anyone? Who do I have ranked too high, too low? Let me know your thoughts. And yeah, I just want to shout out and say thank you guys all for tuning in to another episode of Player Profiler News PrimeTime. If you enjoyed the show, obviously you're doing a great job. You're watching it. Click the follow, subscribe button, like this, comment, all that. It helps us, helps the channel grow. Share with a friend, share with, wherever you are watching it, if you're watching on YouTube or Twitter, wherever, share it. Why not? But as always, thank you again for tuning in to today's show. And remember, follow us and myself on Twitter. You get the latest news and updates from around the league. Again, my Twitter is Louis Lewis 5. That's LEWY LEWIS and the number 5. And also give my personal podcast, Fantasy Endzone, a listen as well. Greatly appreciate it. And with that, I'll see you fantasy gamers next week. Peace.
From the Podfather to you, I deeply appreciate you tuning in. And many ask, what can I do? What can I do to help support the hosts, the research they do, the production costs? Go to PlayerProfiler.com, Dynasty Deluxe, World Famous Draft Kit, Rankings, DFS Dominator, and of course, Data Analysis. Subscribe to any one of those, and you support all of us and take Player Profiler to the moon.